Hey, what's up guys? Machine King here. Been a while since I've recorded a video. Good long time actually. But today we are starting our new series on the channel called Deck Profile. Where I'll be going through the different Yu-Gi-Oh decks that I currently use. And I will of course do update videos as I update the decks. For, well, major updates. Obviously, everything's going to be updated a lot. But for major updates, like maybe a complete restructure of the deck, I will obviously give updates. But on today, to mirror yesterday's upload by my good friend Oberon, the Oberon Galaxy, we will be doing Exosisters. I helped him a lot on his Exosister build because I've played Exosisters for a good long time. He's played them a lot longer than me. But of course, his current build, he asked for my opinion, which I gave, mainly because the build he uses is very similar to the build I use. In mostly of which things I will explain later. Alright, so without further ado, let us get started. So, the first thing we do is our monsters. So, for this build, you're going to want to use 3 Exosister Martha. So the whole thing about Exosisters is that they're a bit of level manipulation. Life point manipulation. Most of the spell and traps require you to pay 800 life points. Then with certain combinations of the Exosisters, they will gain you 800 life points. So the whole point of the deck is to maintain your life points so you can use the searchers, the spell and trap support. And of course, the powerhouse of the deck is your starter, Exosister Martha. So you're going to want to play 3 of those. Martha is a very good card because what it allows you to do is that if you only have Xyz monsters or no monsters, you can then special summon this monster. And it allows you to special summon 1 Exosister Ellis from your deck to the field, which will automatically allow you to facilitate your Xyz play. So Martha is, of course, one of the most important cards in the deck. And of course, you weren't able to facilitate those Xyz plays without, of course, 3 copies of Exosister Ellis. Now, Ellis is the card that you can special summon when you normal special summon a Martha from the hand. So the strategy always is summon your Martha first, then which will allow you to special summon your Exosister Ellis, which you could then facilitate your Xyz plays. And then of course you have 2 copies of I then run 2 copies of Exosister Irene, 2 copies of Stella, and 2 copies of Sophia. Each one of them can gain life points when a certain other one is on the field. For example, if I have Exosister Sophia on the field already, when I summon Irene, I gain 800 life points. Alice with Stella, and then Irene with Sophia. And Alice, of course, if you have Exosister Stella on the field when you summon Irene or Ellis, you gain 800 life points. So these are the ratios for your monsters. It's very clear what the main goal of the strategy is. Your goal is it is an Xyz based deck. You want to facilitate powerful Xyz plays by using your Exosisters to bring out your rank 4 monsters. So that is your mainstay. Those are your Exosister package cards for the monsters. So, next up, now the difference between mine and Oberon's build is that he goes for the toy package. Well, I go for the more classic spirit package, which allows me to facilitate some of the non-Exosister Xyz plays that I do use in the deck, in the extra deck. So for that, I always use 3 Saketama, 3 Aretama, and 2 Saketama. Of course, if they are blocked with the Ash Blossom, you may take some damage, but the thing about spirit monsters is that they will always return to your hand. So, you can always facilitate the play next turn if, of course, you survive. Which 9 times out of 10, I usually do survive at least one turn in order to get Sakitama and Aretama. And it'll become very clear what these are used for later when we go over the extra deck. Because, of course, with the Exosister monsters, they require the Exosister monsters to facilitate some of their other effects. Which is why I add on non-Exosister extra deck monsters in the deck. So that's what Sakitama and Aretama allows me to do. It allows me to facilitate the non-Exosister Exes monsters I use in the deck. And of course, if you watched Oberon's video, you mentioned that he side-decked these. Well, this is what separates mine from his as well. I actually main-deck them. I play a Bystial Magnemite, a Bystial Baldrake, and Bystial Drift Swarm. They are an amazing package in the deck. Because the Exosisters are dark and light monsters, they are great to be used in the deck. Magnemite allows me to search the other two. And Baldrake, of course, this has a target banished, or you can banish a special summon monster, of course. And then, of course, Drift Swarm. Both of them allow you to target special summon monsters and either banish or send them to the graveyard. So, target removal, perfect, of course. And, of course, they're level 6 bodies that are just, of course, powerful. So, the Bystials provide a decent backup strategy in case my Exosister plays fail, because they're very easy to get out and they are somewhat powerful, with each having 2,500 and 2,000 defense. With 2,500 attack and 2,000 defense, they of course facilitate a somewhat powerful ability to finish off opponents. I've had quite a few duels where I've actually finished off opponents using the Bystials. So they are a very decent package for Exosisters. Alright, so now that we've gone over the monster lineup, we will... And then, of course, the last monsters are, of course, Ash Blossom. 3 Ash Blossoms. I don't think I need to explain them too much. Your signature Ash Blossoms work in almost every deck. Every deck you'll ever see, at least competitive deck you ever see, will be playing, of course, 3 Ash Blossoms. The go-to hand trap for most of the formats recently. And, of course, this format. So, they are, of course... And with that, that finishes up the monster lineup for the Exosister deck. So next we'll go on to the Exosister Spell and Trap support. Of course, having a 3 of is our Exosister packs. Exosister packs allows you to pay 800 life points. And then, of course, you get to search an Exosister monster from your deck. And then... if I added a monster by the effect, you can special summon it if the other Exosister monster is on the field or in the grave. So, best searcher you always want to have your Exosister packs in your hands. It's one of the best searchers in the archetype. Really good. And then, of course, for the final spell, I use the Exosister Cabreavum. Decent protection. And as long as it remains on the field, it has very much decent protection. You don't use the armament all too much. At least I haven't seen it used. So, and then, of course, this is the other thing that the difference between mine and Oberon's. I use the traps a bit more. So, instead of his profile called for 1 of each, I end up running 2 Verdas and 2 Verturnias. Mostly because my strategy is a bit more slower. I don't play the competitive the locals I go to don't play the competitive as much. So for me, most of the duels I end up dueling are a bit slower. So the trap cards tend to come a bit more in handy with them. So I have the 2 Verdas and 2 Returnias, both of which are very good consistency options to help you recover and search things from the deck. I have 1 duels because of Verdas particularly. So with that, that is the Exosister spell and trap support. And to finish off the main deck, and of course to finish off the main deck, it is the non-Exosister spell and trap support. So in the deck, we run 1 triple talent, common card, of course. I mostly use it for the pot of greed effect. That draw 2 is just amazing, and of course extra hand support. Of course, for monster for removal, I got Dark Hole and Raigeki. No really explanation there needed for those. Raigeki and Dark Hole are, of course, amazing cards. Dark Hole is mostly in there for the Mimighoul. At another card shop I tend to go to, not as much as my locals, but another one. There's quite a few Mimighouls players there, so I always keep a Dark Hole on hand just in case. But Dark Hole is still a very useful card for non-Mimighouls, so I tend to keep it in there. Of course, your classic Call by the Grave. You stop your Ash Blood. You stop your opponent's Ash Blossom. And then, of course, 2 Book of Eclipse. Really good. It won't shut a deck down, mostly because of the amount of link monsters you'll see, but a Book of Eclipse is very good for at least stalling an opponent for a little bit. So, I run 2 of those in there. And then, of course, one of the best hand trap cards, Infinite Imperm. 2 ways to use this, of course, either on the field, which blocks the spell and trap zone when used, or you can use it from the hand if you control no monsters, which, of course, is not a once per turn, so if you have multiples in the hands, really good way to shut your opponent down with hand traps if you're going second. Alright, so with that being said, that is the non-archetypal spell and trap support. Very generic, nothing all too special about that support. And then, of course, finally, we have the extra deck. Very standard. So the Exosister part, at least for the Exosister support, is quite standard. So you have the 3 Exosister Mercalas. It is your go-to Xyz monster when dueling. It is a destruction, of course. Excuse me. If you control this card while it's Xyz summon using an Exosister monster as material quick effect, I can target one of your opponent's monsters and you control or in the graveyard and banish it. And then I can deattach 1 material to add 1 Exosister spell or trap to the hand. So this is your go-to Xyz monster. It is a searcher, it is a destruction, and with how easy it is to spam the field with Exosisters, I have found it that when you go in for your boss monster, 9 times out of 10, it's usually 2 Mercalas as your material. So then we got 2 Exosister Kabzaeosel, 2 Exosister Gabrine, and 1 Asamal. Of course, your very standard Exosister extra deck monsters. You know, Gabrine right here allows you to target 1 effect monster you control, and you can negate its effects, and I can detach 1 material. All Xyz monsters I control gain 800 attack. Apps will only use 1 in this one. You can, of course, if this Xyz summons with an Exosister material, you can neither player can activate cards from the graveyard this turn. Does affect you, but you should probably summon this towards the end of your turn, or at least the end of your main phase, when you know you're getting ready to go into battle phase. This would be then when I use this, when you no longer need your graveyard. And then, of course, you could detach one material from this card to target one monster your opponent controls, and then return it to the hand. So, a good bounce effect. And then, of course, Exosister Capsitown. If this card was XZ summoned with XZ's material, with Exosister as XZ's material, neither player can special summon from the graveyard for the rest of this turn. Again, just like Bystial, you want to do this towards the end of your main phase, so when you no longer need your graveyard. So it also protects you from your opponent using your graveyard, their graveyard, you know. Then you could detach one material and then add one Exosister monster from your deck to your hand. So it's, again, it's a monster searcher, so that's always good. So yeah. And then, of course, your boss monster, of course, is I play 2 Exosister Magnifica. Which, of course, you could make up to 2 attacks per turn, detach one material, and banish one card your opponent controls. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can return one Exos monster you own attached to this card to your extra deck. Then you can special summon that monster from your extra deck by using cards you control as material. So, really good way, as a really good negation effect. So when an opponent activates an effect, you can activate this, and then you can XZ more on their turn, of course. And of course, the banishing effect, and of course the 2 battles, really good. So yeah, that is your standard. That is my Exosister extra deck. So, like I said, pretty standard, but, and then of course, the non-archetypal, and then we'll finish up the video with the non-archetypal extra deck. So, because it's an XZ deck, I always use Superstar Slayer Typhon, 1 Zeus, a bit of new support, but an Eclipse Twins. This one is really good for redoing XZ's monsters from the graveyard. Really, really good. Of course, number 41, Baduska. Really good for stalling. You know, if you don't get this thing, you don't get a good hand, you know, you can put this on the field. This is one. Now, these 2 are your Sakitama and Aritama targets. Well, at least this one mostly is. This one's mostly your Sakitama and Aritama targets. If I get one but don't get what I need, like Exosister wise in my hand, you know, you summon this for 2 turns. You get 2 turns to get the next card you need from the hand, so from the deck. Then of course Eclipse Twins, and of course the only non-XZ monster from the deck, SP Little Knight. No explanation really need for SP Little Knight. One of the best cards in the game right now, so there you go. That is your non-archetypal XZ support. Extra deck. And with that being said, that is Exosisters. So the full name of the deck is Spirit Bystial Exosisters, or Bystial Spirit Exosisters. It is by far one of my favorite decks that I play. It's not my main tournament deck, but it is definitely a deck that I really enjoy. It took a long time to build this deck, mostly because it required a lot of figuring out how it was going to work. So yeah, with that being said, that's all for the deck review. I'm glad to be back. You know, some changes to the channel, of course. I'm no longer Star Brother as I once was. I am now the Machine King. So a couple of announcements. Of course, I'll be working very closely with another YouTuber called Oberon the Galaxy, or the Oberon Galaxy. He's one of my best friends, have been for years. He's actually the one who got me into Yu-Gi-Oh! And the reason why I bring that up is because me and Oberon and I, we're actually be starting a not a competitive, but a collaboration channel together. There you will find uploads of both of our deck profiles as well from our main channels, as well as on there. So that's just another place you can go and watch our deck profiles, as well as we will also be recording us playing on Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega, play testing the decks you see in real life, so the deck profiles we go over, and just dueling with different decks that we may not have real life, but just doing different formats that are official. So with that being said, the other thing I would like to discuss with you about the new series of deck profiles is that we don't only have normal formats. The locals I go to actually does a lot of domain format. So as well as these normal deck reviews, we will also be doing deck profiles on my 3 domain decks. So the next deck you'll probably see will probably be my Blue Eyes deck, which at the moment is my tournament deck when I play tournaments. Not much of a competitive person, but when I do tournaments, it is my Blue Eyes deck. So next video, you will get to see my competitive, more modern Blue Eyes. With that being said, have a great day, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, and see you all in the next video. Machine King out, guys.